Someone didn't just knock on our door, they tried to break it. The pounding started at exactly 5:47 a.m., violent, impatient, like whoever was outside wanted the entire street awake. Before I could even sit up, flashing red and blue lights filled our bedroom walls, not reflections from far away, right outside our window. My heart slammed against my ribs. Through the blinds, I saw two patrol cars angled across our driveway. Two uniformed officers stood at our door. And behind them, half hidden but smiling like he'd been waiting for Christmas morning, was Greg, our HOA president. My wife didn't panic. She didn't even look surprised. She squeezed my wrist once and whispered, "Do not argue, do not step outside." Her voice wasn't scared. It was controlled, calculated. That's when the fear shifted, because she had expected this. The officers shouted again, "Open the door, we have a report of criminal activity." Criminal activity, at our house, over what offense? A mailbox shade. I cracked the door with the chain on. One of the officers avoided eye contact. The other kept adjusting his belt like the uniform didn't quite fit right. "We need your wife to come with us for questioning." Questioning about what? No warrant, no paperwork, just Greg standing there with that tight little smile. Have you ever seen someone so confident that you start doubting your own innocence? That was his expression. 3 months earlier, we moved to Oak Ridge Meadows for quiet mornings and tree-lined streets. The brochures promised safety, order, and community pride. What they didn't advertise was control. It started small, a friendly reminder about our 6-foot privacy fence. City approved, fully permitted, yet somehow a violation. Then came the letters, porch light too bright. Trash bin visible for 14 minutes past pickup time. Lawn edging is inconsistent. Who measures edging? Every notice was signed by Greg. Every complaint escalated faster than the last. Then the car started appearing down the block at night. Same headlights, same engine idle. Sarah noticed before I did. She notices patterns, that's her job. She installed cameras without telling the HOA. She started documenting every letter, every encounter, every time Greg walked past slowly with his phone raised. "He's building something," I told her. She shook her head slightly. "No," she said, "he thinks he is." 2 weeks ago, a handwritten note appeared in our mailbox. "Some families don't belong here." No name, no signature. Just enough threat to make you wonder, was this about rules or about us? So when those officers stood at our door demanding my wife step outside, something didn't add up. Why wouldn't they look me in the eye? Why did one of them glance back at Greg before answering basic questions? Why did Greg look more excited than the police? Sarah stepped forward calmly. "What department are you with?" she asked. The taller one hesitated half a second too long. Half a second is a lifetime when someone is lying. She nodded once almost to herself. Then she looked at me and said clearly, "Call the real sheriff's office. Ask for the duty captain, now." The color drained from Greg's face just a little. The shorter officer swallowed hard. Sirens echoed faintly in the distance, but these weren't the ones parked outside. Greg's smile finally cracked. And that's when I realized something terrifying. This wasn't about offense anymore. It was about power. But here's the question. If someone is bold enough to fake the law at your front door, what do you think they're hiding behind theirs? The sirens growing louder weren't for us. They were for them. The two fake officers shifted their weight nervously as real patrol units turned onto our street. Lights flashing but controlled, not chaotic like the ones blocking our driveway. One of the fake cops whispered something under his breath. Greg stopped smiling altogether. Sarah stepped fully outside now, calm as ever, arms folded. "Last chance," she said evenly. "Identify your department." Silence. Not the confident silence of authority, the shaky silence of men who knew the clock had run out. When the real deputies stepped out of their vehicles, everything changed in seconds. They didn't greet Greg. They didn't even look confused. One deputy's jaw tightened. "You again," he muttered under his breath. That's when my stomach dropped. Again, this wasn't their first time. The fake officers tried to explain, stumbling over words like amateurs in a school play. But Sarah was already walking one of the deputies toward our garage camera monitor. She replayed the footage. Greg pacing in front of our house at midnight, Greg sliding violation letters into our mailbox, Greg photographing our windows, Greg meeting these same two men days earlier near the clubhouse. Frame by frame, lie by lie, the story collapsed. Deputies moved quickly after that. One cuffed the shorter fake cop. Another turned Greg around while he protested about community enforcement rights. Rights to impersonate law enforcement, to intimidate families, to force people out. Neighbors had started gathering at the edges of their lawns, whispering, filming, pretending they hadn't ignored months of obvious harassment. Boxes came out of Greg's garage that morning, fake badges, printed citations, even a police-style radio scanner tuned to local channels. This wasn't an overreaction. This was organized fraud. And suddenly every little HOA fine made sense. How many families had quietly paid? How many had moved without fighting back? At the emergency HOA meeting 3 nights later, the clubhouse was packed. Greg actually showed up, red-faced but defiant, claiming this was a misunderstanding. He said we were disruptive, said we had something to hide. Sarah didn't argue. She connected her laptop to the projector and pressed play. The room went silent as footage filled the screen, him coaching the fake cops, him rehearsing lines, him bragging about teaching people lessons. You could hear neighbors gasp. One woman covered her mouth. A man in the back whispered, "He did this to the Thompsons, S2. And right on cue, deputies walked in with official paperwork. This time, there was no hesitation. No half-second delay, just cold metal cuffs clicking shut in front of everyone he once controlled. Greg didn't look powerful anymore. He looked small. The HOA board dissolved within a week. Independent oversight replaced it. Families who had stayed quiet started speaking up. Apologies came to our door with casseroles and awkward smiles. But here's what still lingers in my mind. How easily people mistake confidence for authority. How quickly fear makes neighbors look away. If Sarah hadn't known exactly what to watch for, would this have ended differently? Would we have been just another family pushed out quietly? And that's why stories like this matter. Because power only works when no one questions it. If you believe more people need to hear how standing your ground changes everything, make sure you like this story and subscribe. You never know whose door might be next. The scariest part wasn't that they knocked pretending to be police. It's that they thought no one would dare check who they really were.